everyone, my name's Sarah and this is my channel So Sarah Sewed. In today's video I'm excited to tell you all about my plans for what I will be sewing and knitting in the month of June. Before I get into my plans though, I'll let you know what I'm wearing today. So I have made several of these tops. It's the Billy sweater or the Billy sweatshirt by Tilly and the Buttons, and it's available as both just a normal sweater and also a sweater dress with different sleeve options. So you can make it with balloon sleeves or just regular sleeves. I've made both versions, but I absolutely love the balloon sleeve version. I love the extra room there is in the arms with it and just the way it sits on my body and the way it feels. So this is just a sweater version with the balloon sleeves, and I've made it in a French terry that I got from Nerida Hansen. I'll show you. I'm wearing it with my pajama pants, excuse me, today. I'm actually still in isolation having COVID. I'm on day 5 now, so I'm feeling much better, but I am still just resting around the house, not doing too much, and therefore just wearing very casual clothes. So I'll show you my top. So I absolutely love this pattern, and as I mentioned, I find myself wearing it all the time, either this one or one of my other versions. It's pretty much a weekend standard for me to be reaching for one of these jumpers at this time of year, which is getting quite cold here in Melbourne. So on to my plans for June. So my first plan for June is to make something I've been meaning to make for a very long time. I think I had the pattern printed out around last October. I've had the fabric for months as well. It is the Arthur pants by Sew Liberated. Now these are a very dramatic pair of pants. They've got quite voluminous a voluminous leg shape. There's actually 24.5 inches of ease in the hips. So I'll put some pictures in of the line drawings, but they come in at the waist, and there's also an elastic waistband. So there are 2 options actually with the waistband. You can make a fully elasticized waistband, which is view B, or view A has a fly front closure. I'm planning on making view A with a fly front. I've never made a fly front before, but this is going to be my first try at those. I've had some good advice here from some viewers recommending particular YouTube tutorials to watch to help me with that. So thank you for those suggestions. I'll definitely be looking at those. And I've decided to make mine in a washed linen that I bought from My Design. I wanted a color that would work throughout the year, so it could be sort of worn with summery items and also with wintry items as well. So hopefully this will work well. So as I mentioned, this is a washed linen from My Design, and the colour is called Eggplant, I believe. So I've had this for quite a while. It's washed, it's ready to go. So I'm looking forward to cutting into that soon and starting on those pants. I believe Sew Liberated have a YouTube sew along that you can follow with, so I'll definitely be doing that as well to help me, just to break down all those steps and hopefully end up with a good result. Now this pattern is designed, or it's drafted for someone who's 5'7", and I'm about 160 centimeters, which I think is about around 5'2" or 5'3". So I'm going to take a bit of length off the pant. It's supposed to sit just above the ankle or just at the ankle. So I'm thinking I'll probably take 3 to 4 inches off, but I will measure some of my other pants just to check exactly how long I want these before I make that final decision. The pattern does come with the lengthen and shorten line, so I'll make use of that, and that will help me to maintain that, that balloon shape of the legs. Now my measurements put me around a size 14 for these pants, but because of the amount of ease in the hips and the fact there's an elastic waistband, there is a suggestion that if you don't want too much volume in the pants, then you can size down. So I'm actually going to size down to a size 10, and hopefully that will give me still, you know, a fun shape, but not so much volume that I'm sort of swimming in the pants. So let's see how I go with those. All of my plans this month involve fabrics I've already had in my stash for quite some time, and the next one is a Dupes Designs jersey I bought earlier this year. This is a jersey fabric, a cotton jersey, 100% cotton from Dupes Designs, and as I mentioned, I bought it earlier this year. I can't see it on their website anymore. There is a different version with the pink outlines of the leopards, Mine are all white, but it's called Leopard Play, and it's got these leopards all over it with these pretty flowers in between as well. So I've been wondering what to make with this material and sort of sitting on it for a bit. I think I've got 1.5 or 2 meters of it, maybe 1.5 meters. And I've really struggled to decide exactly what top I'd like to make with this fabric. I really love the fabric, and I'm trying to think about the sorts of tops I like to wear and the sorts of tops I wish I had more of. And there's a couple of styles of tops that I do reach for, but there's also another style that I wish I had more of. So that's what I'm going to go for with this one. So the tops that I really enjoy wearing is actually the Agnes top by Tilly and the Buttons. And I like the ones, I like the version that has the ruched sleeves. So the elastic in the sleeves that then gives us a really big puffy sleeve. And I've got a couple of these that I wear with my York pinafores. I love the shape this creates. It gives a lot of volume at my shoulders. And then I think it just really balances out my proportions, kind of gives a fake hourglass kind of look, because you've got this big kind of shoulders here, and then it comes in at the waist with the York pinafore, and then the York pinafore kind of is wider again at the bottom. So I love this kind of illusion of this hourglass that it creates. However, that Agnes top is very, very fitted on me, and it's not something that I feel comfortable wearing without the pinafore over the top or without a vest over the top. Even on the weekends, I just feel it's just way too tight and clingy. So I've decided not to make another one of those in this fabric, and instead I'm going to make a Vera top by Forget Me Not Patterns. Now this is a free pattern, and it is a much more kind of relaxed top. It's got a V neckline, and then it's got 3 different sleeve options. The first 2 are balloon shaped sleeves. The top of the sleeve is just a normal, no gathers or anything or puff at the top, but then it is quite wide at the bottom, and then it's all gathered into a cuff at the bottom. They're not full length sleeves, or one of the options isn't a full length sleeve. So the first option is just a short little cuff, which then makes your sleeve end maybe around here. And then the second option is a very long cuff, which would make the sleeves full length. And then the third option is just to have no cuff at all and to end up with a very big bell sleeve. So I think I'll be going with the short cuff. I do like a sort of 3/4 length sleeve. And then what I do like about it is that it's quite a relaxed fit over the body. So it's a bit fitted over the bust and then quite relaxed and down to the hip line. So I think using this fabric will give me a really nice top that I can then wear with jeans, or not feel like I have to have something covering over the top for me to feel comfortable wearing it. So hopefully going for this particular top, this shape, will mean that I reach for this top a lot on the weekends. But I'm hoping that that sort of balloon shape will mean it's, you know, nice enough for me to get away with wearing it at work as well. So we'll have to see. The next item that's on my list is something else I've also had in the plans for a long time, but not made yet. It is a fanny pack, the Fennel Fanny Pack by Sarah Kirsten. Now I actually bought the pattern and cut out all my fabric pieces and bought all the bits and pieces like the buckle and the strap and everything like that back in December of 2020, but just never have gotten around to making it. I was scrolling my Instagram recently and I noticed someone that I follow had a post saying they're having a sew along coming up, and it's a fanny pack along. It's a fanny pack along with Jessica and Tina. So that's Jessica from Mayberry and Tina, whose username is Tina1802. And I believe the idea of this sew along isn't that you use a particular pattern, but that you choose a fanny pack of your choice or a bum bag pattern of your choice and you follow along. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to run, but I do know that it starts on the 6th of June, if that's something that interests you as well. So I've chosen the Fennel Fanny Pack because that's one that I already had anyway. So you can see here I've got all my pieces already cut out. I'm using this beautiful canvas by Rifle Paper Company as my outer fabric, and then I've got some other fat quarters that I cut up for my lining. So just some matching little prints, that one and that one, so they'll be on the inside. And then I've got some bright green zips and my buckles ready to go. So I'm hoping that participating in a sew along will help me find that motivation to just get this done. So if you've always been interested in making a bum bag or a fanny pack, this might be the motivation that you need as well. I can really see myself wearing this when I go for walks, especially along the beach with my family in the summer, or actually any time of year, just to be able to put my phone in, or my keys, or little bits and pieces that I need with me. I often end up having to carry my children's shoes and socks along the beach as well when they take them off. So being able to put their socks in there could be quite handy as well. At the start of the year, I set myself a goal to try and finish a hand-pieced quilt that I've been working on for quite some time. It's the Journey Home quilt by Blooming Poppies, and I think I started it in the second half of 2020. So it's been in the works for a while, but it kind of got ignored when I discovered garment sewing in 2020 as well, and that took over. And also the knitting took over as my kind of couch time hobby in 2021. So this has kind of been neglected, but this year I made it a goal to do to finish one block a month. I'm sewing it by hand, and I am pretty much on track, and that will mean that in June it will be time to sew the final block. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you might remember that I actually just lost all the pieces for one of the blocks, and I have no idea how or where it is. I'm sure it's got to be somewhere, and I'm sure as soon as I cut out new pieces, it'll turn up, but it hasn't turned up yet, so I'm going to have to cut out those new pieces. So luckily for me, what I did find is my little project bag that has the templates that I made in the first place that I'll need to cut out those final pieces for the last block. And then I've got all the leftover fabric. So I'm pretty sure there's plenty in there to make just the squares and triangles that I need for that final block. And then that will be my goal, is to sew up that final block in June, which will then mean July, it will be time to start piecing it all together. So hopefully I'll be on track with that in June as well. I've had a few questions about where this fabric came from with these sweet little people, these sweet children and the birds and the trees. And it's by a designer called Sarah Jane Studios, and this particular line of fabrics is called We Wander, and I think it's from about 10 years ago. I received it as a gift from one of my sisters a long time ago, and it's been sitting in my stash of beautiful fabrics for a long time, and I finally got it out and used it for this quilt. But yeah, We Wander by Sarah Jane. And my last project that I'll be continuing on in June is my current knitting project. Now this is a Novice Cardigan by Petite Knit. I made one of these last year. I made a brown one, and I've been finding as the weather's been cooler, I've been wearing my brown one a lot, and I've been wishing I had another cardigan. So I thought, well, it's time to make another one. So I had a good think about what colour I would like to have another cardigan in, and the sort of colour that might work with the clothes I already have and wear. And I decided to go with this blue-green colour. So the Novice Cardigan is worked with 2 strands at a time, one in quite a chunky yarn and the other in a silk mohair. So I decided to go with one of the recommended yarns in this pattern, which was the Isaiah Alpaca 3. I've used this before when I made a holiday slipover, and I love the feeling of that. It's so squishy and so soft. So I wanted to use this particular yarn again. It's 50% wool and 50% alpaca. So I'm holding that with a strand of this silk mohair, and that's by Biche et Bouche, and that is in their colour called Blue Green. And they seem to be working really nicely together. So at the moment I'm working on the yoke. I've done a bit of ribbing for the neckline there. This is one of the beginner patterns by Petite Knit, and it's fairly easy to follow. At this point, while I'm doing the yoke, it's all just rows of knit and rows of purl alternating, and then every few centimeters, or according to the pattern, there's increases in there as well. But yeah, pretty simple to follow at this point. And as I said, I've made it before, so I know that it's achievable for me, and I know that I like the shape of the finished garment, and I'll look forward to wearing that. Hopefully I'll get that finished. I think it'll probably take me about 5 or 6 weeks based on how long the last one took me, and also the fact that I've got some school holidays coming up at the end of June. I'll have 2 weeks holidays, which always gives me a little bit more knitting time as well. So hopefully by the end of the holidays, which is around the 10th of July, I'll have this one finished. So that's all of my plans for June. I'd love to know if you've made any of those, or if you're thinking about participating in the Fanny pack along. It should be a bit fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're all doing really well, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon in my next video. Bye bye.